What if everything you've been told about influence is a lie? What if the secret to commanding a room, to closing the deal, to captivating the person across from you has nothing to do with what you say and everything to do with the silent symphony you conduct beneath the surface of their awareness? Right now, in this very moment, someone is steering your decisions, shaping your perceptions, and guiding your actions without you ever hearing a single command. They are not mind readers. They are not wizards. They are individuals who have mastered the unspoken language of human connection. They understand that the real battle for influence isn't fought with words, but in the quiet, shadowy arena of subconscious cues, emotional resonance, and psychological triggers. For too long, you've been playing checkers in a world of 3D chess, believing that louder talk, more passionate pleas, or logical arguments were the keys to the kingdom. I'm here to tell you that the true masters operate in the silence. They wield an invisible authority that makes people want to follow, yearn to agree, and choose to be led. This is not about manipulation for malice. This is about understanding the fundamental architecture of the human psyche so you can build the life, the career, and the relationships you truly deserve. It's time to stop being a passenger in your own story. It's time to step into the silent power you were always meant to hold. Imagine walking into a room and, within seconds, before a single word of substance is exchanged, a deep-seated feeling of trust and familiarity begins to bloom between you and another person. This isn't magic or luck. It's the science of subconscious synchronization, the most foundational and potent skill in your silent arsenal of influence. Most people navigate conversations with their conscious minds, focusing solely on vocabulary and logic, completely oblivious to the roaring river of nonverbal data they are constantly transmitting and receiving. Your posture, the subtle micro-expressions that flash across your face in fractions of a second, the rhythm of your breathing, the precise angle of your shoulders, the tempo of your blink rate. This is the true dialogue happening in the background. To master influence is to first master this channel. It begins with the art of mirroring, a concept far more sophisticated than simply copying someone's crossed legs. True mirroring is about becoming a subtle, graceful echo of their entire physical and energetic state. It's about matching their breathing pattern, not in a creepy stalker-like stare, but by allowing your own respiratory rhythm to gently fall into sync with theirs. When they take a slow, deep breath, so do you, almost imperceptibly. This single act sends a primal signal to the most ancient parts of their brain, the limbic system whispering, "I am like you, we are safe together." Then, move to the cadence of their speech. Is their vocal tempo slow and deliberate like a deep flowing river, or is it quick and staccato, like light rain on a window pane? Adjust your own pace to harmonize with theirs. This linguistic mirroring creates a sense of cognitive ease, making your words feel inherently more comfortable and correct to them, as if they are hearing their own internal thoughts reflected back. Pay exquisite attention to their lexicon, the specific words and phrases they use to describe their world. If they talk about feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of tasks, they're using kinesthetic and quantitative language. Respond not with visual metaphors like "I see a big picture," but by entering their world. That sounds like a heavy load to carry, a lot to manage. You are now speaking their native tongue. This entire process is not about mimicry, it's about demonstrating profound empathy on a biological level. You are communicating, your reality is my reality, your internal state is understood by me. This builds a bridge of rapport so strong and so subterranean that when you finally do speak your agenda, it doesn't feel like an external proposal. It feels like a natural, organic extension of their own thoughts, a conclusion they themselves were about to reach. The resistance that normally greets new ideas simply melts away because you haven't presented an argument to be debated. You have simply guided them to a destination that already feels like home. Most people are emotional weather vanes, spinning in the winds of whatever emotional climate they find themselves in. They walk into a tense meeting and become tense. They engage with an anxious colleague and absorb that anxiety. The silent influencer, however, is not a weather vane. They are the weather maker. They understand that every single interaction has an emotional temperature, a specific climate, and they take absolute responsibility for setting it. You are not a passive participant in the emotional field, you are its chief architect. This requires a radical shift from reactivity to proactivity. Before you enter any room, any conversation, any negotiation, you must first decide, what is the dominant emotion I need to feel to achieve the outcome I desire? Not what you will feel, but what you choose to feel. Is it unshakable, tranquil confidence? Is it infectious, optimistic enthusiasm? Is it grounded, powerful certainty? You must embody that state so completely that it radiates from you like body heat, creating a bubble of influence that others cannot help but enter. This is about emotional contagion, a psychological phenomenon where one person's emotions and behaviors directly trigger similar emotions and behaviors in other people. Your mission is to be the patient zero of the emotional state that serves your purpose. Think of the last time you were around someone who was genuinely, calmly joyful. Didn't you feel your own mood lift, almost against your will? Or recall being in the presence of someone radiating a deep, silent confidence, didn't your own? Doubts and insecurities seem to quiet down? That is the power you must harness. It begins with physiology. You cannot feel powerful and confident while your body is slumped and constricted. Stand tall, expand your chest. Breathe deeply into your diaphragm. Adopt a posture of ownership and space. Your brain takes cues from your body. When your body projects power, your mind begins to believe it. Then control your internal dialogue. You cannot project calm if your mind is a screaming chorus of panic. You must master the narrative you tell yourself in the moments before engagement. This isn't about positive affirmations you don't believe. It's about adopting the perspective of the person who has already achieved the outcome. How would that version of you feel? What would they be focusing on? Step into that identity. When you do this, your non-verbal communication shifts on a microscopic level. Your vocal tonality carries a resonant certainty. Your gaze becomes steady and focused. Your gestures become deliberate and purposeful. People won't be able to pinpoint why they feel so compelled to listen to you, so trusting of your direction. They are simply responding to the emotional reality you have engineered. They are basking in the sunshine of your certainty, seeking shelter in the fortress of your calm. You are no longer just a participant in the conversation. You are the very ground upon which it is built. Facts tell, but stories sell. And more than that, stories possess. They hijack the human brain in a way that no spreadsheet, no bullet point list, no logical argument ever could. Since the dawn of humanity, we have been hardwired to understand our world, to transmit vital information, and to bond as a tribe through narrative. Logic is processed in the neocortex, the brain's relatively new and easily tired CEO. But story bypasses the boardroom entirely and goes straight to the heart of the operation, the limbic system, the seat of emotion, memory, and decision-making. When you tell a story, you are not simply sharing information, you are inviting someone on a neurological journey. Their brain doesn't just listen, it experiences. The same neural pathways that would light up if they were actually climbing the mountain, facing the rejection, or celebrating the victory in your story are activated as if they were living it themselves. This is known as neural coupling. You are, quite literally, syncing your audience's brain with your own. To wield this power silently is to become a master storyteller, but not in the campfire sense. It's about framing every piece of information, every proposal, every vision within the structure of a compelling narrative. A powerful story has three core components: a relatable hero, a formidable challenge, and a transformative resolution. The genius of silent influence is in making your listener the hero of the story. You are not the savior. You are the guide, the mentor, the one who provides the map and the tools for their transformation. Begin by articulating their current reality in a way that resonates deeply. This is the call to adventure they may not have even recognized. You know that feeling of being constantly busy but never truly moving the needle? That's the starting point. Then, introduce the challenge or the obstacle not as a terrifying monster, but as a worthy adversary that, when overcome, will lead to a greater version of themselves. This is the ordeal. Finally, present your idea, your product, your strategy as the elixir, the magical solution that allows the hero to return transformed. Having conquered their challenge and claimed their prize, use vivid sensory language. Don't say it improves efficiency. Say, imagine it's Friday afternoon. The sun is streaming through your window. Your inbox is at zero, not because you've been frantically typing, but because your systems are so seamless, you've reclaimed 3 hours a week. You can literally feel the weight of administrative chaos lifted from your shoulders. You are painting a picture with emotions, not just words. You are giving them a premonition of their future success, and once a person has emotionally and neurologically experienced a positive outcome, their motivation to make it a reality becomes a driving internal force. They are no longer agreeing with you. They are pursuing a destiny you help them visualize. Every human interaction is governed by an invisible set of rules, assumptions, and contexts. This is the frame, and whoever controls the frame controls the entire game. Think of a frame as the narrative bubble surrounding an interaction. Is this a desperate plea for help, or a collaborative opportunity between equals? Is this a costly expense or a critical investment in future freedom? Most people walk into conversations completely accepting the frame that is handed to them. They react to the definitions, the stakes, and the context that others set. The silent influencer never accepts a frame. They either consciously adopt a beneficial one, or they impose their own. Frames are like gravitational fields. The one with the most mass wins. Your confidence, your certainty, and your unshakable belief in your frame give it mass. When your frame collides with a weaker one, it doesn't argue, it simply absorbs the other and dictates the new reality. For example, imagine you are negotiating a salary. The employer's frame might be, we need to see if you're worth this investment. If you accept that frame, you are in a supplicant position, trying to prove your worth. But you can shatter that frame and impose a new one. Your frame could be, this is a partnership to solve a critical problem for this company, and I am the unique solution. Suddenly, the entire energy shifts. You are not a cost, you are an asset. You are not a beggar at the table, you are a problem solver they need to recruit. How do you command a frame? It starts with presuppositions, linguistic, structures that assume your reality is already true. Instead of saying, I hope I can help your team, you say, when we begin working together to streamline the workflow, the first thing we'll do is, you don't ask for permission to lead, you simply step into the leadership role through your language. You maintain unwavering congruence in your nonverbal communication. Your tone, your posture, and your energy must all be aligned with the frame you are setting. If you are setting a frame of being a high-value consultant, but your voice is timid and your posture is closed, the frame will shatter. But when your words, your body, and your energy are in perfect alignment, your frame becomes an impenetrable reality that others have no choice but to accept. They will subconsciously pick up on your certainty and begin to organize their own perceptions around your definition of the situation. You are not fighting against their reality. You are offering a new, more compelling one for them to inhabit. The fundamental law of human desire is this: we are instinctively drawn to that which is perceived as scarce, exclusive, or difficult to obtain. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding a non-negotiable principle of value perception. Abundance, by its very nature, decreases perceived value. Scarcity, whether real or perceived, amplifies it exponentially. Your time, your attention, your expertise, and your agreement must not be given away freely and without condition. To do so is to broadcast to the world that you are common, that your resources are infinite and therefore worthless. The silent influencer cultivates an aura of strategic scarcity. They understand that their presence is a prize, their commitment is an honor, and their yes is a valuable commodity to be earned. This is the absolute antithesis of neediness. The needy person is always available, always responsive, always sacrificing their own boundaries to be in the mix. They chase, they plead, they make themselves omnipresent. And in doing so, they annihilate their own perceived value. You must operate from a different paradigm, one of abundant self-worth. Your calendar is not a blank slate for others to write upon. Your mental and emotional energy is not a public utility. You guard these resources with a quiet, fierce integrity. This means being deliberate with your availability. It means not responding to every text or email the second it arrives, creating a subtle, unspoken narrative that you are engaged in important, valuable endeavors. It means having the courage to say no to good opportunities so you can say hell yes to extraordinary ones. When you are in a conversation, you are fully present, but you are not desperate to extend it. You have other places to be, other missions to attend to. This isn't rudeness. It's the quiet confidence of a person who has a life of purpose and momentum. This strategic restraint creates a psychological pull that is almost magnetic. People begin to think, what is it that they're doing that's so important? I want to be a part of that world. They start to qualify themselves for your attention. They raise their game to meet your standards. By making yourself slightly less available, you become infinitely more desirable. You are no longer an option. You become the destination. This silent broadcast of high self-value is one of the most powerful attractors of respect, opportunity, and influence in the human arsenal. The human mind has an insatiable need for closure, for completion, for solving puzzles. When presented with an open loop, an unresolved pattern, or a hint of mystery, the brain enters a state of cognitive tension that it is driven to resolve. This is the driving force behind binge-watching television series. The cliffhanger creates an open loop that we feel compelled to close. You can harness this primal instinct to create an irresistible aura of attraction and influence. Most people make the critical error of being an open book, divulging their entire life story, their every opinion, and their entire emotional landscape within the first few meetings. There is no mystery, no intrigue, nothing left to discover. They become a single, flat page that is read and quickly forgotten. The Silent Influencer is a captivating, multi-volume novel with layers of depth yet to be explored. They understand that perceived depth is what creates lasting engagement. Cultivate an aura of mystery by being selectively revealing. Share stories but leave out certain details, creating a hook that makes people lean in and ask, and then what happened? Have areas of your life, your passions, your past that are not immediately accessible to everyone. This doesn't mean being secretive or dishonest. It means understanding that not every treasure is meant for public display. Let people discover your competencies over time. Don't announce that you're a brilliant pianist. Let someone stumble upon that fact in a surprising and delightful moment. This creates a pattern of positive surprises, reinforcing the perception that you are a person of hidden depth. Use thoughtful pauses in conversation. Instead of rushing to fill every silence with noise, allow a question to hang in the air for a moment, signaling that you are considering it with a depth that others do not. This subtle cue communicates that your thoughts are complex and valuable. When you become a puzzle, people's minds will actively work to figure you out. In the process of trying to solve the puzzle of who you are, they invest massive amounts of mental and emotional energy in you. And, as we know, investment breeds commitment. They will be drawn back to you again and again, not because you are chasing them, but because their own brain is driving them to close the loop and solve the fascinating mystery you represent. The rule of reciprocity is one of the most powerful and universal laws of social psychology. It creates a sense of indebtedness, a psychological need to repay what has been given. The common interpretation is to do favors to get favors, but the silent influencer wields this tool with far more subtlety and devastating effect. The key is not in the large, obvious favors, which can often feel transactional and create pressure. The true power lies in the small, unexpected, and seemingly insignificant gifts of value. This could be a piece of insightful information tailored specifically to their interests. I read this article and it immediately made me think of the challenge you were facing last week. It could be a small, thoughtful connection. I met someone who is an expert in that niche you're passionate about. I'd be happy to introduce you. It could be a genuine, specific compliment on a skill or character trait that others overlook. The critical element is that these acts are given freely, without any immediate expectation of return. This no strings attached presentation is what makes the obligation so potent. The recipient is left with a positive feeling towards you and a subconscious self-generated desire to find a way to balance the scales. This is a double-edged sword because it must be wielded with authentic generosity. If it is done with a visible agenda, it will backfire spectacularly, breeding resentment and distrust. But when done from a genuine place of adding value, it builds a vast reservoir of social capital. You become known as a giver, a value adder, a person who elevates everyone around them. This reputation is a currency more valuable than gold. People will feel good in your presence because associating with you has consistently led to positive outcomes for them. When the time comes for you to make a request or propose an idea, the response will not be based on a cold calculation of its merits alone. It will be filtered through the warm lens of all the micro-investments you have made in the relationship. They will be psychologically predisposed to say yes, not because they owe you, but because saying yes to you feels congruent with the positive, beneficial relationship you have built. You have, silently and elegantly, made it in their best interest to help you succeed. The final and most advanced technique in your silent arsenal is the power of anchoring. This is the process of associating a specific neutral stimulus, a touch, a sound, a visual cue, with a powerful emotional or physiological state, so that the stimulus alone can trigger the state in the future. You experience simple anchors every day. A certain song comes on the radio and instantly transports you back to a specific time and place, complete with all the feelings you had then. The silent influencer learns to create these anchors deliberately, both in themselves and in others, to evoke peak states on command. For self-mastery, this is the ultimate tool. You can create an anchor of unshakable confidence by recalling a moment where you felt absolutely powerful and invincible. As you vividly relive that memory, feeling the feelings, seeing what you saw, hearing what you heard, at the peak of that intensity, you provide a unique, specific stimulus. It could be pressing your thumb and forefinger together in a specific way, or touching a specific spot on your wrist. You repeat this process several times, conditioning the anchor. Then, in a moment of need, right before a big presentation, a difficult conversation, you can fire that anchor by performing the same gesture, and it will call forth a wave of that powerful state, allowing you to access your peak performance precisely when you need it most. When applied to influencing others, this becomes an incredibly subtle art. It's about associating your presence or a specific aspect of you with positive, resourceful states in another person. For instance, every time you deliver great news, offer a genuine compliment, or share a moment of laughter and connection, you can pair it with a subtle, consistent cue. This could be a specific warm tone of voice you use only in those moments, a particular smile, or even a unique keyword. Over time, through repetition, that cue becomes neurologically linked to those positive feelings. Then, in a future interaction where you need them to be receptive, open, or positive, you can deliberately employ that specific cue. Their subconscious mind will respond by activating the positive associations they have with you, putting them in a state of mind that is far more likely to be agreeable and trusting. You are not manipulating their free will. You are simply creating a context that makes the best parts of your relationship most accessible. You are, in essence, planting a seed of positivity that you can help bloom at the most strategic moments, guiding the emotional trajectory of your interactions with the precision of a master conductor. What you now hold in your hands is not merely a list of tricks, but a new operating system for human interaction. This is the end of feeling powerless in the face of other people's decisions, the end of watching opportunities slip away because you didn't know the silent language that seals them. You have been given the keys to a kingdom you always knew existed but could never quite find the door to. This is about recognizing that the most profound communications, the most decisive moments of influence, occur in the spaces between the words, in the silent symphony of subconscious cues, emotional resonance, and psychological framing. Remember, this power is not a weapon to be wielded with malice, but a tool to be used with wisdom and integrity. It is the difference between being a puppeteer, pulling strings for short-term gain, and being a master gardener who understands the hidden rules of growth and cultivates an ecosystem where everyone can flourish. When you master the unspoken dialogue, you build bridges of trust that logic alone could never construct. When you become the emotional architect of your interactions, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become the creator of your reality. Weave stories that don't just inform, but that transport and transform, making your vision an experience that others can feel in their bones. Command the frame with such unwavering certainty that your definition of reality becomes the only one that matters, pulling others into your gravitational field of success. Understand that your value is dictated by your scarcity, and have the courage to make your time and attention a prize that others must strive to earn. Let the aura of mystery you cultivate do the work of attraction for you, turning you into a compelling puzzle that draws people in through their own innate curiosity. Wield the principle of reciprocity not as a transaction, but as a philosophy of generous value creation, building a vast and resilient network of goodwill that supports your every endeavor. And finally, learn to anchor states of peak performance in yourself and positive associations in others, giving you the ability to shape the emotional landscape of any moment with the precision of a maestro. This is the art of silent influence. This journey requires more than intellectual understanding. It demands practice, awareness, and a commitment to personal power. It asks you to step out of the comfortable role of the reactive participant and into the demanding, exhilarating role of the proactive creator. It will feel unfamiliar at first, like wearing a new suit of armor, but with each conscious application, it will become more comfortable, more a part of you, until these principles are not something you do, but something you are. You will walk into rooms and feel the shift. You will speak and hear the deeper silence of people truly listening. You will navigate the world not as a leaf in the wind, but as the wind itself. Thank you for embarking on this journey into the heart of true influence. This is not the end of your learning. It is the beginning of a new way of being. Take these principles, practice them with purpose, and go build the extraordinary life you are destined for. The power was always within you. Now you know how to turn it on. Goodbye, and go claim your power.